Apologies for the issues. I sometimes transfer devices between work and personal, and I think that somehow messed things up with somehow the OBS here. But I believe we're good now. We get some music going, creator safe music. Let me know if anything needs to be adjusted for a more pleasant viewing experience. So draft has finished up. Here's a quick look at the draft LOL to get an idea of pick order, because the custom lobby here is going to be a blind pick. So that way we can get just right into game, no pauses. We have Cal Poly Division 2 on the left and FF at 20 on the right. I'm going to go ahead and drop a ping in the Rec League chat for anyone who wants to tune in, as we are sure to have a banger here. Group B Tiebreaker. Checking for me. Wow. What a great guy. So, some of the stakes here. Group B, tiebreakers. Taking a look at the standings. Drag that on down here as they select the same champions. These are the three teams that are tie-breaking right now, tied at 2 and 3 apiece. And as we all know, 3 teams make it into playoffs. So, pretty big stakes, about as big as it gets at the end of the season here, and that's going to make for hopefully some very pleasant viewing experiences. Win and in, lose and Cancun. That's kind of what we're looking at right now. These two teams did play in week 4, and I think a couple of different players here and there, but Cal Poly Division 2 came out on top 2-0. Not that it wasn't close though. Saw quite the performance from Frozen Ace and Kazulan out of For Fun at 20 in that first game and the second game. And they were both post 30-minute losses, so not close. I don't know who Doom was, but that was another thing with making custom lobbies. So, gonna get into game here. Once again, Cal Poly on the left and For Fun at 20 on the right. Big stakes for both teams. Kind of taking a look at this draft now. Pull back the draft low while we're kind of waiting to get into spectator. So early rotation of 80 carries, pretty standard, especially when you're going for something like the Varus, something like the Ashe. Those are 2 long-range 80 carries who can provide utility for their team, are generally pretty safe in lane. Going to match up pretty well into each other. It's getting interesting for me is FF at 20 locking in the Yasuo on 2. So comfort pick probably coming through for the mid laner of FF, Trazix. Seen him on the Yasuo before. He's got quite a mean mechanical prowess on that champion. Had a few solo kills in a series I believe I casted earlier. Okay, Kazlan was a sub. That's great to know. So team's now at full strength, and we'll kind of see how that affects things. So I know that was an issue with a lot of the tiebreakers, was before the tiebreakers, you know, life responsibilities, school, whatever it is, can't always get the full squad there. Should be full squad for both of these teams now. So when it matters most, coming together and we'll see what they can do. A little over minutes. Back to draft. Victor going to be the answer for Gojo into the Yasuo. Just trying to play the control mage side, keep things safe. And then a Pantheon on 3 and a Vi on 3 for both sides, junglers. Pantheon, very strong early game jungler. Can be great at skirmishing. When with that global ulti, make stuff happen. And Vi, just always a solid champion in the meta. And giving a very easy knockup for Trazic's Yasuo to have access to the back line. As Renekton versus Gwen to round it out in the top lane. These are just very kind of standard picks that we're seeing out of both sides as they kind of draft a pretty solid comp on both sides, I'd say, in terms of skirmishing potential and team fight potential. I think the Yasuo that Trazix has is the only thing that's maybe a bit unstandard here. Then 2 engage supports in favor of the Alistar and the Rakan are going to have my eye at least towards this mid game of game 1 here, as I think whoever can really start to win some of those fights are going to come ahead. I'd expect top lane to go in the favor of Botswana on the Renekton. Just high early game base damages. With that being said, Loki did take Ignite Teleport, so maybe looking to challenge that a bit. Trazix should have some priority mid lane into Gojo, especially with that Ignite. We got some aggressive laners on the side of FFH20. I mean, they're throwing down the gauntlet. At 3 Ignites on their side. And then this bot lane matchup, Ashe Rakan into Varus Alistar. The Ashe and the Varus tend to play each other pretty equally. Just lots of range together. So as long as they're spacing, won't be an issue for either side. And full disclaimer for this Project Ashe on the side of FF20. Did a quick Google Translate. I think the best it kind of translates to is chopped letters. So it's kind of what I'll be rolling with. Or maybe just Ashe and drop the namesake, unfortunately. But back to the bot lane. Rakan into Alistar is also going to be pretty even. That's pretty high skill matchup. You're never sure what type of ping these players are playing with. But if Rakan can navigate out of those knockups and chain CCs and kind of keep range and slowly poke away Jubilatory and Sloppy Poppy, then this bot lane should be... Oh gosh. I was wondering what was taking so long. Quick reconnect. My bad, Shrekky. Shrekky's ready, man. A lot of Cal Poly love in the chat. Let's see, hopefully this works this time. Don't necessarily expect too explosive of an early game outside of maybe Trazix on the Yasuo, so hopefully not missing too much here. Give it a few more seconds and then maybe just restart my client. Okay, we're in! Nothing ever happened. Let's get things all set up as ping's coming down in the bottom lane. And we get into game. Like I said, gonna keep an eye on FF at 20 on this red side in the early game, as they did decide to take 3 ignites, so really indexing this early game. And I think when you draft something like the Yasuo versus Gojo on something like the Victor, the onus is on this melee matchup to really make stuff happen and build a lead. Otherwise, this Victor is just gonna be able to sit back and scale up. I think great dive on the side of FF20. I'm a big fan of FF20's draft here. I mean, it just looks like one of those comps that are really fun to play. You have 4 kind of incredible pick single target team fight abilities with those ultis. And then Loki on the Gwen, probably wreaking havoc that entire time alongside him. Ashe's name, you know, I'm gonna Google that. I did a quick Google Translate. It looks like it's kind of a verse from the Quran. Loosely translates to chopped letters, so I may roll with letters. I can alt tab real quick and try to listen to the pronunciation real quick. Or if anybody can drop that, I'll help. But maybe just be hyping up the nameless Ashe too. As we do get into lane, my eyes they're gonna be everywhere here. Hopefully the directed camera can do us good, as expect to see some trading going back and forth. This Ashe Rakan should be able to get pushed into a level 1 Alistar. As Zivide, it's all that can be done. Just a little headbutt. Assalamu alaikum. I feel like I can roll with alaikum. Level 2 ticking over for Cal Poly as a great trade out of Dante Kenshin's GOAT. Very rare you get level 2 as an Alistar into any lane, but Jubilatory and Poppy navigating that well and starting to build up an early lead into Quantum and Alaikum. Trading in the top side. Just lots of little trades back and forth here. So this Gwen is actually getting priority into the Renekton here, catching me by some surprise, as did think the Renekton would have the base damages to kind of hold their own, but Gwen, very strong champion. I believe it's pretty much perma pick ban in the LCK. As junglers clearing to opposite sides here, so this is where some early action may start to pop out. It is full clear meta, so pretty standard stuff out of them. But Sloppy, Poppy, and Jubilatory wisely letting this wave come back after the early lead, while Gyarados is in the area to maybe make something happen. Vi in the top side, probably just going to secure the scuttle with no real gankable lanes. Ward goes down in the river. We'll see if Gyarados, the water natural environment here, just going to swim on by. Take care of that scuttle. Some trading in the top lane. Ignite goes down. Slice and dice through. Botswana with first blood for Cal Poly. Missed a little bit of that fight, and OG Sloppy Poppy hunting in the bottom lane. Flash pulverize onto Alaikum, as Alaikum forced to pop the barrier, and this Ashe is on the retreat as the Ignite drops down. Gyarados coming in the area as well, dropping dangerously low. Is this Ashe? Is going to fall to Jubilatory, and Quantum Force forced to flash out. Some sneaky positioning once again from Dante Kenshin's GOAT. Cal Poly jumping out to an early 2-0 lead on these split sides of the map here. Taking a quick look back at that first blood that I so rudely cut Botswana off of. Let's kind of see what happened here. Some early aggressive trading on both sides. Botswana ticking over to level 4, and Loki using that snip, has it on cooldown for a little bit, and from there, this is the Renekton base damage I was talking about, and even with the Ignite, a well-timed dice to get around that snip from Gwen means Botswana puts himself off to a very comfortable early lead here. Some trading on the bot side. Bot laner's back. This Alistar is summonerless, so is in danger if ever caught out of position from Alaikum and Quantum, as they are shoving in that bottom lane. Junglers continuing to full clear. I do want to point out that Frozen Sloppy Poppy goes in for a combo. This Ashe, no barrier, but does have the flash. Jubilatory trying to follow up, chasing him down too. Auto's peppering up. Piercing arrow comes through and forces Alaikum to flash out. And here is Frozen Ace. Flashes in with the Vault Breaker, and now Sloppy Poppy is mincemeat. This cow gonna be donated over to the Ashe, I imagine. Nope, Frozen Ace gonna Vault Breaker right on in there for a second kill. Is Vi getting off to a strong early start, as 4 fun at 20 behind some efforts of their jungler, bringing this game back a little bit. Poppy and Jubilatory saw what looked like a pretty good angle there onto the Ashe, forcing Alicum to flash out. But with Frozen Ace in the area, that's 2 easy kills onto the bot lane of Cal Poly, and our first dragon of the game 6 minutes in. Both sides continuing to farm up. This mid lane's going to be pretty even. Trozix has ticked over to 6 though, so that's when you really have kill pressure. If I say that, Botswana popping the ulti. Loki forced to ulti in return. The Ashe is lane swapped up to the top lane, but it's not going to be enough. Goes into melee range of Botswana, and this Croc is going to be mighty comfortable. Level 7 to level 4 Ashe. Just a little tickle. Trozix maybe in a little bit of trouble as he's headbutted towards Gyarados. Sloppy Poppy getting some stun as some CC gets layered down. So, bit of devastation, honestly, from For Fun at 20 as they call for the swap. And usually when you pull off this swap, it is to bail your AD carry out of a bad position while not necessarily dropping anything. Frozen Ace showing up in the top lane. Botswana slicing forward with the stun right into the Vault Breaker. And here comes Gyarados for the backup. That is why. Flashes onto the flashless Ashe. Gyarados charging forward. Doesn't quite have the damage, though. And now Frozen Ace looking for more. Ticks over to 6 on the minions. Pops the seasoned assist. And that is going to be a 3rd kill for the Vi. Action in the bottom lane. Piercing Arrow comes through. More combos from Sloppy Poppy. But Loki is just going to be able to walk it off. As God of Deception maybe playing with us a little bit there. But I do want to bring this back to my initial point before that action all broke out. Is FF at 20 called for this swap, and while they did that, Loki was getting solo killed, so they end up losing a lot of minion waves on the bottom lane. And what was a CS lead in top lane, a good 10 CS lead in top, has now been reduced, even lost, while bot lane has continued to extend this lead as they pick up plates. And you're looking at this Varus into the Ashe, 500 gold ahead, 800 gold lead in the top lane. Frozen Ace with nearly 1,000 gold lead himself, picking up the grubs for the team. So FF at 20 is getting some good early objectives, but pretty much all their gold is on Frozen Ace right now. And when you have this single target swap comp, then you want to don't want all the damage in one place. Yeah, great point. Swaps to help with the grubs. I think the idea is perfect, right? Like you have the swap there. You have they timed it well. It was just a little bit of misexecution on Loki's end. Maybe playing a little safer there to ensure, you know, not handing over any deaths. And they do get the grubs at the end of it all. So is it worth it? Only time will tell, right? This classic lane swap tale. You now have this Varus who is 600 gold ahead of their counterpart. But you're setting yourself up for the future in this 1-3-1 quite well. Ten minutes in, we see both junglers kind of popping in the bot lane. Jubilatory, Chains of Corruption into the bottom lane, but Frozen Ace here to cover, forces the Unbreakable Will out of Alistar. So both junglers showing face in the bottom lane in what has been kind of the area of action here. Certainly hasn't been mid lane. I'm at whims to the directed camera here, but Trozix and Gojo have just been left to their own devices to farm it up. As Gyarados in the area here, but not quite able to close the distance. Ping's coming down on the mid lane. Trozix trading heavily. Frozen Ace maybe looking to Vault Breaker in, decides against it. More fighting over vision in this bot river. As Quantum Force and Alicum trying to defend this control ward, but Gyarados in the area means... Oh, Sloppy Poppy going in with a 2-man combo. Getting a little fancy there with the flash headbutt. Is forced to retreat, though, as not enough damage to follow up. And Alicum does throw down the flash there out of respect to get out of the way safely. So trade of flashes, support for AD. Sloppy Poppy bringing some interesting stuff to this game. Looking like some vintage helicopter plays. Just hiding in bushes. Pulling off some wacky combos. Second Drake spawning, and who's there? Right on time, Frozen Ace. I think recognizes this is an early game comp that they've really indexed into, and stacking these early Drakes be a great help for them. Cal Poly though, looking to maybe contest it. Drake falling down, 1k is going to be smited away. Sloppy Poppy in the area, but not quite in range for a combo. Jubilatory coming up from the bot river, maybe looking for Chains of Corruption, but not in range again. And that will be second Drake for relatively low price to pay on the side of FF at 20. I think they're definitely looking for this one to go a little longer than 20. Frozen Ace is caught out by some CC from Gyarados and Sloppy Poppy, but Quantum Force dashing in with the grand entrance, 2-man knockup, and here comes a Lycum for follow-up. Cease and desist in onto the Gyarados, forces the Pantheon to flash out, and the chase continues as Sloppy Poppy may have to sacrifice himself, but in comes Jubilatory, Chains of Corruption onto the Rakan. Sloppy Poppy falling low in the background, Quantum Force flashes out, barely gets away, and Frozen Ace with the Vault Breaker out too. Is anyone going to die? One piercing arrow finds the mark onto Quantum Force. Means someone finally falls in what was a crazy fight around that bottom Gromp. Saw it initially, let's say that, Sloppy Poppy flashing over, Hex flashing over, takes the trade for tower, and Gyarados looking for more action too. Frozen Ace flashing towards the safety of his own tower, and with Trozix in the area, and Gyarados not having flash, it is a grand starfall out of there. Wow. That was just non-stop from minute 12 to minute 13 there. So Gyarados going for the invade. You know you have this bot prio as FF at 20 just took that Drake, so they haven't gone on this full reset yet. Looking for a little bit of a fight onto Frozen Ace, but then a great 2-man knockup to kind of peel them away from Quantum Force. And a Lycum first to the area, but this Ashe doesn't have any damage at this point. So what Cal Poly did, just buy some time. Once Jubilatory pulls up, lands the Chains of Corruptions, and hits some crucial piercing arrows, most notably that snipe at the end, to turn that in favor of Cal Poly in what was very close. Frozen Ace once again caught up in the jungle. OG Sloppy Poppy everywhere around the map. This man is... Don't open your fridge, guys. You may find Sloppy Poppy. That is great roam here. We'll see if Quantum Force is able to punish Jubilatory as the flash comes out, flashes out of the arrow, and gets into a safe spot away from the grand entrance. And now, you know, I think Frozen Ace is slowly losing his lead. He so expertly built up for himself just because of this phenomenal team play out of Cal Poly Division 2. When you invade the jungle like that, unless you have incredibly prepped kind of wards ahead of time, which just looking at the vision here, red side wards are all defensive in the bot side. That's why they were able to kind of hold their own in the first place. But in this top side, it's littered with blue trinkets. It's TP in the bottom lane. I can't even like try to talk big stuff, as I'm sure that was just another Sloppy Poppy combo. I mean, what else? That guy could slop over my pop, if you know what I mean. Keep playing the Alistar like that. Woo! First tower going over to the side of Cal Poly Division 2. Now a 3k gold lead, but still plenty early on, just 15 minutes. And like I said, this is a very strong single target pick comp on the side of For Fun at 20. They have, you know, this Vi, this Yasuo, and this Rakan. So Jubilatory probably not going to be feeling so jubilee come later on these fights. There's another neutral objective secured. Frozen Ace kind of showing the star power here. Definitely one of the players you kind of look on paper. How is this guy, you know, 2 and 3? It just speaks to how competitive the Midwest League has been this year, and now a 3-way tiebreaker scene. But that Vi putting in work for the team. 3 of the 4 kills and all of the neutral objectives thus far. But they need to keep things going. Frozen Ace got to find some angles here, keep his team in it, keep stacking up Drakes. As item tick points start to come through, maybe help them come this next Drake fight in 10 seconds if they decide to fight it. Ward's kind of coming down. Sloppy Poppy going in a bit early for the combo. Arrow comes through, forces the unbreakable will. Great arrow by Lycum there. Means no ulti on the Alistar, who flashes in anyway. Sloppy Poppy don't give a damn, but he maybe should have, as Quantum Force going in for the grand entrance. Flash forward from Trozic, gets the Beyblade knockup and a shutdown onto the Yasuo as FF at 20 is marching forward for more. And Cal Poly can do nothing but respect it as they back up. And now, for fun, have this inside track to the Drake. Sloppy Poppy, maybe getting a little too sloppy there. As sees what is a very bold angle onto the Trozic's Yasuo. But no one quite around for the follow-up. Like pointed out, this Varus is most of your damage at this point, and that is a squishy Varus when you're playing into this Vi Yasuo Ashe comp who can pick you off easily, and that's exactly what we saw. Trozic's putting that Yasuo mechanical prowess on display and punishing a bit of an overstep on the side of Cal Poly. That being said, though, Botswana has still been dominating this 1 versus 1. Had the counter pick. Jubilatory getting caught out by that Vi ult. Frozen Ace going to pick him up. But like him, kiting him down for the damage. Sloppy Poppy not there in time. Just caught a bit ahead. Where he maybe should have been was Jubilatory. As Rift Herald comes down in the mid lane, gonna look to push this advantage. Objectives being traded really everywhere. We got some quality League of Legends being played. So tower taken in the top lane. And while that was happening, Frozen Ace looping around from the bot side. Just a classic crops map, and Jubilatory walking a bit too far up. Flash was still down for another 10-15 seconds. FF at 20 realizing that and punishing it in very timely manner, as zooming out wider into this game state here, 19 minutes in, just 1,500 gold separating these two teams, which means nothing at this stage. And most importantly, 3 Drakes for the side of FF at 20 means in about 3 minutes time, they'll have a nice Cloud Soul that they can maybe play for. Ulti coming through onto Jubilatory, who is now forced to flash out. Chains of Corruption tags the Ashe on the way out. And a few spears and arrows coming down for a little bit of trade damage. But that's that power of those pick ultis. All you blew there, too, was the Ashe ult. And now Jubilatory with no flash for this upcoming Dragon Spawn in a little under 3 minutes time. That's something you're going to want to keep an eye on, as this Victor, yes, it scales, but you don't have that much damage yet. So once you kill that Varus, unless we see some heroics out of Gyarados and Botswana, tough to see really where the damage is going to come from into what is it also a respectively Bruiser-esque comp on the side of For Fun. Strong grouping moves in the mid lane, though, being made by Cal Poly as they look to brute force down this mid tower. Hex Flash over the wall from Sloppy Poppy as Gyarados gets the stun and the flash onto Frozen Ace. And that tower will fall with 5 man in the mid lane and 5 man to respond on the red side here. It's kind of well played from Cal Poly. Gotta give him credit there. Not opting to play the 1-3-1 game that For Fun want to. Loki ulting in the top lane. Needlework coming through Renekton popping the ulti in return, but the Ignite comes down to cut that healing a little bit. The Snips and the Slice and Dice doesn't quite get over the wall, and now Loki is looking to chase for more, but in comes Sloppy. And once you see that cow, you're running away. Sloppy Poppy flashing in. Grand Starfall coming through over top, and the chain CC is too much for Loki to handle. Puny God getting thrashed about there. As now Frozen Ace ulting in the bottom lane as well. Quantum Force here to follow up. Flash Grand Entrance is flashed out from Gojo. Stolen some time there. But Frozen Ace and Quantum are going to turn towards this Otacon. See what Gojo can do. Kind of sticking around, looking to contest it. The Ashe and the Yasuo rotating down as well. Gwen up in 10 seconds and is going to be respawning with TP. So we'll see what the call is here. It looks like it's the turn. Knock up on to Gojo. Trozix going into the backline on Jubilatory. No flash. The Ignite drops down to tick him down for the final kill. Botswana 1 versus 3. In comes the Gwen. 1 versus 4 in the backline. Is not going to have enough to fend them off. And now, for fun, turning their eyes towards this Otacon after taking out both the AD carry and the top laner of Cal Poly. Sloppy Poppy fat fingering the locket there. Looks like it won't matter, though, as the call seems to be to back up for now. Tail edge of the tornado for Trozix, catching Jubilatory there. And the Yasuo just one-shotting the Varus. As more pings coming down in the mid lane, I think Cal Poly really trying to get priority entrance, so they're maybe not caught off guard by that snap engage that we've seen for fun put on display this entire game. But Dragon spawning, soul point, soul at stake here in this tense game 1. About 22 minutes in, lining up on the top side of the map. Our Cal Poly, Sloppy Poppy looking her the Hex Slash over. Shows face, gets the knockup canceled from Trozix, forced to pop the Unbreakable Will. Botswana on the bot side. Knockups come through. In comes the Grand Entrance onto 3. Chaos in the river here as a Lycum picks up a double, flashes out. Botswana once again caught in a 1 versus 4. Is not going to be able to do enough there. A pair of double kills picked up for both carries on the side of 4Fun at 20 as that snap engage, just like I said, it's too quick to follow. I mean, they pulled the trigger. In comes the Vi ult, in comes the Yasuo, in comes the Rakan ult. And Cal Poly, almost nothing they could do there once they lost that setup. Frozen Ace making the call there. And the team showing faith in their star jungler. Backing him up with instant... I know Trozix was mashing that R button to get that follow-up. Quantum Force doing work in the backline, and Lycum kiting away from what has been a pretty scary Renekton in the early game to pick up a double kill for himself. So now I think you're really looking at the next 5 to 10 minutes and see what 4Fun can do to extend this lead, as you still have that scaling threat of the Victor, of the Varus, who went on hit, so scales pretty well. Once it starts getting a little, we already see the Terminus come through. We're going to see Rageblade, and after Rageblade, probably a Jack show. So maybe tanky enough to survive that initial dive. And that is a concern kind of always looming in the back of your mind. Beyond, you know, the concern that is just Sloppy Poppy. Trozix with a great tornado there to kind of cancel that initial engage from the Alistar. Baron spawning 25 minutes in now. It is still just a 1,000 gold lead game. And a lot of bounties on the side of 4Fun. Potentially up for the taking if there's any missteps or any successful punishments on the side of Cal Poly that they're able to kind of pull off. I do expect the game to slow down just a tad until we start playing around objectives. We're going to see the 1-3-1 come out from 4Fun. And so it'll be interesting to see which kind of side both teams want to play to and ward for. That's maybe the action we get, some side lane picks, and we'll see how each team navigates that. As you know, kind of at display here. Trozik's getting the push, but knows Gyarados is in the area, so not going to overstep too much. So my eyes go to the other side of the map. What's happening when they show jungler on bot side? Enemy jungler is top side, looping around for a gank. It's Botswana trying to slice and dice out, but the Season Desist and Needlework comes through. TP in from the top lane as well. Arrow falls short, and that Needlework just slicing right through that Crocodile. Those are some sharp scissors able to cut through that Crocodile leather. And this opens once again up that 1-3-1 as Gojo TP'd in the top lane to try to save his top laner. So Trozik's going to have free reign on this bot tower for a little bit and does have those 3 grubs. See another wave come in. Love this ward. Going to highlight that. Sloppy Poppy probably placed it. Yeah. Who else, right? Kind of protecting any dive from Gojo. You know who's in the area. Didn't quite spot him out on that first initial thing as Trozix gets that bot lane tower. For fun. Playing this 1-3-1 great. Utilizing their pick potential to push the side lanes, force side lane picks, maintain objective control around what is the big neutral objective up right now in Baron. And it's like they're going to try to keep things as neutral as they can until maybe this Elder Dragon spawns in 2 minutes. Continue to push the 1-3-1, you know, try to build up more of a gold lead. It was just 1,000 a few minutes ago, and now we're up to almost 3,000. Put yourself in as comfortable a position as you can before these huge neutral objective fights come out. So we'll get back into directed camera here. Kind of sit back and enjoy the show. I mean, can you really ask for a better game 1 to start off this set of tiebreakers? It has been lots of action back and forth, map movement on both sides. Gojo a little wary here of stepping up. Flash in from Frozen Ace, followed by some chains of knockups. Trozik's able to pick up a 5th kill into the 2-man Beyblade onto the sub jungle of Cal Poly. Snap engage once again. Frozen Ace recognizing the opportunity. We saw how hesitant Gojo was to walk up. Grand Starfall into the mid lane is not going to catch out Assalamu Alaikum. Is able to walk out and turn their eyes towards the Baron. Jubilatory and Sloppy Poppy may be looking for some heroics here. As 3 versus 5 right now. Flash in from Sloppy Poppy. Gets 3-man knockup, but no one's in the area, so that Unbreakable Will is not going to be able to help him out too much. Jubilatory kiting back is able to get the 1, but a knockup from Trozix means he won't be able to get anything more. Botswana and Gyarados trying to salvage what they can as the last 2 members of the team here, but it's not going to be enough in the face of the damage, the wallets, the just power that For Fun and 20 have at this stage in the game. As say, keep your eyes what happens in the next 5 to 10 minutes, and For Fun is just running away with it right now. Playing a cool, calculated game there from side lane pick to setting up vision to a smart Baron start into a textbook turn as their eyes turn towards the Elder Dragon right now. Should be pretty free as Gyarados doesn't have that Grand Starfall, so no way to get into the pits. Just respawning in 3 seconds, and Baron for another 2 minutes. Elder for, you know, about 2.5 minutes means this is For Fun at 20's game to lose right now. Expect them to kind of just continue playing that 1-3-1 that has worked so well for them, right? Now that you have the Baron, it's going to be even more potent. Quantum Force, a little bit alone here, hunting for some vision, but with the ult, he is going to be able to grand entrance his way out of there. As that was kind of fun to watch. The ulti into the with the Cloud Soul, man, was zooming. Some quantum speeds. So we'll see what the call is here. It looks like they're going to send 4 to the top lane, put Trozix in the mid lane. Likely because they have this Elder Dragon and that Snap Engage, you have very good threat onto backline. So don't necessarily need to play this slow game, but are going to, you know, wisely play on multiple lanes, buffing up that mid lane, making sure that gets shepherded in. Elder Drake up for another minute as Arrow connects, and there comes the follow-up. Ulti after ulti. Quantum Portion in the backline forces Gojo to flash out. And now Sloppy Poppy following low, falling down for his 6th death. Gojo catching out Ashe in the backline with the Chaos Storm. Missed that with the directed camera, so somehow Cal Poly able to get something back there into the Elder Baron siege of For Fun. But is it enough? Is that going to allow Gojo to scale? As we see that power of the Snap Engage. I don't know if it's wise to use it on the Pantheon at this stage in the game. Investing 3 ultis down into Gyarados, who took it as well as he could have, especially with that Elder. We saw him just get blown up. Threw up the Shield Bash to keep himself alive as long as he could, and it paid off as Gojo able to snag a shutdown onto the Ashe. GA coming through now for Trozix. Love that buy. You're at the stage in the game now where you don't, like, one missed position could cost your team the game, honestly, when you're post 30 minutes here, and that GA kind of puts a buffer into that. And Sloppy Poppy may have caught out Loki here, but a dash out of the headbutt means that is not yet the case. Jostling over vision in this bottom side as Elder Dragon is officially up and inspired. So we'll see how, as I say that, Flash is in the bottom lane here as Loki falling low with the needlework, but in comes the rest of For Fun at 20. Botswana forced in the backline, not able to get much. Gyarados and Sloppy Poppy having a little bit of trouble himself. Botswana flashes in, gets the kill onto Loki, and is now slicing and dicing against Frozen Ace, who picks him up. Alaikum kiting him out, but Gojo with a Chaos Storm forcing him back, and at the end of the day, a 1 for 2 for the side of Cal Poly as some heroics from Botswana into the back line, shredding down Loki. Needlework heal not enough for him, and Sloppy Poppy and Gyarados tanky enough to hold on, reset, and go in for another combo that forces a flash out of Trozix. So this game's not over yet, and you're gonna get a lot of farm here coming in the next 2 minutes for the carries of Gojo and Jubilatory. 3 items now on the Varus, 3 items on Victor. The damage is there now, so it is going to come down to a bit of execution here. I think we saw great execution on the side of that last team fight from Cal Poly, playing kind of a segmented team fight to help break up that snappy engage, as there wasn't a good target for Frozen Ace to use that Season Desist on, as Trozix and Jubilatory kind of pulled up later on to that fight. It was the bruiser tanky meatballs of Cal Poly that were able to start that fight off and keep it favorable for them. Botswana somehow picking up that kill. On to Loki. I think Loki, opting for more damage here with, it's standard Gwen build, but the death cap, definitely a big buy in terms of damage, but not necessarily tankiness. So it's again edge of seat here. Baron up in 10, Elder up in a minute 10. Cal Poly has had the chance to farm a bit past 5 minutes, and now Gojo getting caught out as knockup comes in. Trozix with the last breath, and Gyarados left out to dry too, evolving into a Magikarp there, and eyes peeling towards the Baron for FF. Sloppy Poppy doing what he can to get a combo on a Loki, forces the needlework out with the mid jungle down of Cal Poly. This should be a free Baron for fun. Elder spawning in 45. We'll see how they want to play it. This looks like Ping's just coming down for the base as they realize, hey, we still have 30 seconds on this mid jungle. I don't know if they have enough wave clear. And still some ultis up. The last breath is back up. The Season Desist is up. Eyes on that. We'll see if Jubilatory is able to kind of live through it here, as Baron minions kind of knocking on the door. 3 grubs doing work here too. Sloppy Poppy looking for an engage, trying to hold on for his team if he can. Now knocking on the door of the 3rd inhib. For Fun at 20. We decide to play it safe. Gyarados and Gojo back on the Rift And with Elder Drake up, looks like that will be the next avenue of attack for fun. Should be pretty easily secured here. It's just melting that one down. Gyarados ulti in, doesn't bother. So same story. We have a 2 Elder, 2 Baron game 1 here. Exactly what you want to see out of a tense tiebreaker at the last second here. As moves coming through. Cloud Soul flashing in, forces the flash out from Gojo. But Quantum still catches him with the CC. Windwall comes down to block the Chains of Corruption, and Trozix is pouncing in the back line. Once again, the mid-jungle fall for Cal Poly. Snap engage too strong. Jubilatory trying to kite things out, but into the Elder, into all these members of For Fun at 20. It's just going to be too much. As 29-14, 36.5 minutes in, we have a crazy game 1 in this best of 3 Group B tiebreaker. Now, taking a look here, I mean, I think you look at the scoreline and it was probably not as dominant as the scoreline may lead you to believe. You see Yasuo who's 10-0, you see an Ashe who's 11-3. I think we've all been in those solo games where that's usually one where it is FF at 20. But Cal Poly navigating that early game very well. I mean, that was Sloppy Poppy was kind of running that joint up until 15 minutes or so. From there, that team fighting prowess coming through from For Fun. Kind of see the spread of damage. That tells the story of the game, right? You have 26, 29, 28k out of your jungle, mid, AD, and then 20k out of your top laner. Damage taken. Who else but Frozen Eighth kind of leading the way? Gyarados with quite some efforts frontlining as well. So that was a treat to watch. I mean, that went longer than both their games went in that earlier series. And notably, Cal Poly won both games last time. This time around, different story for Fun as they take game 1. See how long we take to get into game 2 here.
الحروف المقطعة.
Maybe my translation's wrong.
الحروف المقطعة.
الحروف المقطعة. Just ask the guy in the lobby. Oof, what a treat. So this is a best of 3. I know there's been a lot of kind of conversation around what's going on with the tiebreaker situation. And I don't think you can expect a league like this to necessarily have this tight of teams, like to have this type of parity. It's been pretty cool to watch because as someone who's kind of been here and there with amateur leagues, you tend to see a very even split down the line. A 5-0, 4-1, 3-2. Is at this level, some teams are just better than others, and I feel like we almost saw that in the week to week, as most of these series were 2-0s. But at the end of the day here, end of the season here, you have multiple very close ties that are keeping things quite interesting. So just makes for more fun Midwest League to watch. No complaints on my end. As I'm going to grab some water real quick. Be right back. throat is running parched after that game one, so I need to make sure I stay fresh on what is bound to be a good game two. Alrighty. Y'all miss me? Let's see what we got for draft here. Send a link. Shout out Botswana. Good reference there. Let's see, how'd the game go? Ooh, 118 to 103 Thunder. Thunder and 5. Gentleman's sweep. Didn't catch all of the game, but I know it was a good game from Ant, at least at the start. Looks like it kind of stayed that way. 12 for 26. Oh, 1 for 9 from 3. Maybe not. Can't look at match history necessarily. Maybe I can do it here. Nope. So, kind of reviewing that game one. Really liked what you saw out of both teams. I feel like both teams were playing towards what they drafted for. So that's exactly, you know, what you want to see. No kind of identity issues. We're at the end of the season now. Both these teams know how they want to play and have execute on it. So I enjoyed kind of the identity of both teams there, with putting Sloppy Poppy on this engaged support with a strong early game jungler. We see them moving around the map, getting some invades off, making what is an incredible jungler, Frozen Ace, making his life a bit tough. Probably tougher than he maybe anticipated going into this game. And Botswana on that counter pick Renekton doing work. I mean, that's exactly what you want to see out of your top laner in the isolated 1v1, winning that with a few solo kills, being able to wreak havoc in the back line, try to create a little chaos. I think the only area you really look towards is you look towards Gojo in that mid lane, and you kind of ask, like, did we maybe play it too safe here with the Victor? As there was no real agency there, and I think when you have this strong sub-jungle pairing in the early game here, you want to help accelerate your mid lane uh, when you play like that, because having a winning mid lane alongside that lets you move around the map easier and make stuff happen. So that's kind of where my thoughts are for Cal Poly. Jubilatory, great on the Varus. I mean, good as he could have, right? Into what I want to talk about with For Fun at 20, snap, engage, and executing on it perfectly. Drafting a comfortable 1-3-1 comp that can team fight beautifully as well, led behind Frozen Ace. So, you know, you let Frozen Ace kind of dictate the early game. You draft stable, skirmishable lanes that can kind of hold their own, and even falling behind in lane didn't quite matter as much this time around, as they stayed close enough where with Frozen Ace probably, I imagine, doing some shot calling, you know, alongside all members of the team there, making those team fights happen around neutral objectives that they stacked up early. And from there it was just curtains, as I feel like they didn't lose a team fight from 20 minutes on till game end. So looking on this other side here, this is the next set of draft. It is Fearless, so all these champions are out. Tough to see Trozix on the Yasuo again. And that is a bit of a unique pick, so maybe that changes things for Cal Poly, as Echo, Garen, Jaxban, that was the same as last game coming through. Caitlyn, Azir, Nefiri ban, same as last game as well. Pretty standard and Fearless, just keep the bans the same. And a first pick of the Ahri, answered by a 1-2 on the red side of Hui Xin Sao. I like that pairing. I think you're kind of looking at a similar thing for Cal Poly, where you have this strong early game skirmishing jungler. Xin Zhao, I think, is the strongest jungler on the, well, 15-10. I haven't quite caught up to date there. Was the strongest jungler on 15-9. Able to skirmish late game with that Crescent Guard, able to always provide utility. And this time the Hui into the Ahri should be something that, excuse me, that Gojo is more comfortable scaling into with Trozix. Trozix maybe not having as much of, you know, damage threat on the Ahri. But keeping things interesting, Cal Poly locking in the Senna. We're seeing some more Senna pop up. Some recent changes to that champion means it is playable. I'm just never been a fan of Senna. I think it works in specific comps where you play a very strong topside sort of game, and I don't know if that's the game that Cal Poly played. Um, Botswana, I think, is definitely someone you can trust and you feel comfortable backing up with that Senna. I think it'll be interesting to see what Gyarados can do on the Xin Zhao to warrant something like that Senna. As support bans coming through in that second phase of bans, Wukong Ezreal locked in for FF at 20, and a Nautilus coming through. So it's going to be Senna Nautilus bottom lane. Senna playing that kind of 80 carry. I haven't had the time to watch the games. I just know Senna was picked. Not sure if it's being played more supportive style, where you're back to kind of the fasting ways, or kind of what's the tail there. As a Thresh hover coming out, and a Thresh lock for Quantum. Thresh Ezreal can be a bit of a weird lane, but in theory it's pretty safe. The Thresh and the Nautilus matchup. If you're a very comfortable Thresh main, which I assume Quantum is, that is a decent matchup for you. You can flay away the Dredge line, prevent the follow-up CC, and it looks like going to be a beefy frontliner for Loki to kind of round things out here with the Malphite, like that. As that Senna is going to be doing no damage here. It'll just be interesting to see how Cal Poly Division 2 responds. I was going to say, you probably want an AP pick. Maybe a Mordekaiser could do it, and that's what it'll be. So, Malphite, without an enemy top laner open, we'll see if Botswana is kind of able to build himself a good lead. Uh, gonna ask this, just so I can maybe not disrespect. All right, we'll rock with Farhan. Gotta properly glaze, right? Like, and actually, more importantly, let me see. Jubil A Tori. Okay, got it. I think I may be a little off there, but you know, probably got the gist of it there. So, back to draft here. We'll see. Eyes are going to be on Botswana in the top lane here. As you draft this Senna, so Jubilatory, despite what I thought was a pretty solid game one, and you know, obviously just tough to navigate into to Vi, Trozix, Yasuo, and more. They're putting it on something like the Senna, so not quite as strong in terms of carry potential, but a bit more survivability, a bit more utility for the team. Whereas on the other side, you still have this kind of snap team fight out of FF at 20, so that'll be exciting to see. As now Loki on the Malphite rather than the Gwen should be the one kind of leading the charge there behind Frozen Ace. And we'll see what Trozix is able to do on this Ahri without as much damage. Saw great things out of Farhan's Ashe last game, picking up I believe 11 kills by the end of it, most kills in the game. So we'll see if the Ezreal is able to pilot to similar success. I think the bot lane of FF did struggle into Sloppy Poppy and Jubilatory. A lot of Sloppy Poppy fans going crazy in the chat. I mean, those cheers kind of died out, and maybe Sloppy Poppy's power died out with it. Don't know where he derives it from, but I don't know. There's a lot of love for him there, so we're hoping to see maybe a better game on this Nautilus. Definitely in a spot to do so, as you have some quality hook targets, and you are the primary engage once again for this Cal Poly Division 2 squad. There's 2 minutes left. Xin Zhao and Wukong's going to be a pretty standard jungle matchup. I think it's going to be similar to what we saw last game, where both junglers are going to full clear, and playstyle wise, what I've seen is I think Frozen Ace will look to stack up those neutral objectives if he can, whereas Gyarados is going to look to try to get his laners ahead, gank and kind of keep things stable. The mid lane will also be maybe a little more interesting to watch. I think it'll probably just be another farm fest. I wanted directed camera probably won't be giving us much love for the Gojo versus Trozix matchup, but things will be more interesting in the mid game there, as Victor. I don't know. Victor is like one of those picks. It almost feels like a trap pick because you do have great damage, scaling utility, but it doesn't feel like it does quite as much as other meta control mages. You know, Azir, Syndra, even this Hui, they offer more utility, like easier execution, quite frankly, and faster spike points in the game. So I think Gojo will be able to get himself involved stronger earlier. Whereas the Victor really took a long time to ramp up. And the Chaos Storms were doing good stuff late game, but before that, just I was relying exclusively on Jubilatory, who's just getting gangbanged. I mean, he's just getting jumped by this brutal by the 4 20 squad. So damage spread is a lot better this game. It's It's really not on Jubilatory. It's on everyone except Jubilatory to do the damage. So we'll see how that kind of changes things playstyle wise. I'd expect this Xin Zhao of Gyarados to try to path up and get some help for the counterpick Mordekaiser. That's where my eyes are going to be. Having dabbled a little bit in the top lane myself, Mordekaiser into Malphite is it's very Mordekaiser favored, especially with the grass coming through from Malphite. If you ever get that passive stacked up with the 3 abilities and or autos, then you will pretty much just win the trade by sitting on top of the Malphite. And Malphite's passive, Malphite's strength all comes in armor, which Mordekaiser doesn't care about. So should have a good time scaling up. And from there, he had... Where was my train of thought? From there, you have some great ulti targets. I mean, if you can ever catch out Farhan on his Ezreal, maybe a little too far forward, where we did see him kiting the line pretty fine on the Ashe. Or Ari, maybe Spirit rushing in a bit too far. It could be trouble if Botswana is able to kind of garner a good lead for himself. This pause here is just a standard pause for pauses. What happens when there is a custom game and a pause. So again, Riot Client kind of just breaks down on itself and goes, what's happening? Like, I don't know, just freezes. So should be back within 30 seconds or so. Even less. They know, I mean, they know the stakes here. They want to... Riot's, the client's putting out its best work for all 10 viewers we got here. I know it's very late night, as most people are based out of East Coast, so it's absolute pleasure to have everyone here with us. That's probably why there is maybe a lot of Cal Poly love. The other side is Gyarados, not happy with his team last game. Doing a quick DC. Let's see here. No aggressive ignites on the side of Loki and Trozix this time around, so that's a little something to note. And just kind of wait for that long little pause thing to happen again. Oh man. Sloppy Poppy, you naughty boy. Just dancing and floating in the river. AFK, he said. So bot lane should be Farhan Quantum favored if they can hit these skill shots. Otherwise, Jubilatory and Sloppy Poppy are probably going to have a pretty comfortable time like they did last game. You have a lot more kill pressure with something like the Nautilus. I gotta look at the Senna changes. I'm not too sure how strong Senna actually is right now. She's being picked in pro. She's at least playable. So, can't comment too much on what is supposed to be my expert lane. Mid lane, 2 control mages should be pretty even. Watching Botswana in the top lane will be where my eyes go, as Gyarados recognizes that too, is going to path up. So it's not fasting Senna. Senna has the B-Blade, is going to be taking that farm for herself. And trying to garner as many souls as can as well. Botswana. Top lane hook connecting already, level 1. I mean, who else but Sloppy Poppy? Getting us started. Wake me up, right? I can't be dozing at the wheel here. Level 2 ticked over for Loki, as well as Botswana, who hits the pullback. Like I said, this Mordekaiser passive, once it activates, it's a trade win for the Mordekaiser. Getting an early shove. Top lane, Gojo this time with a shove in the mid lane. Something you like to see, a bit of a change from last game, and Sloppy Poppy Jubilatory. Also, with the shove, thanks to some of that pressure, that early hook onto Farhan was able to draw. But Frozen Ace is pathing down, so may be able to help bail Quantum and Farhan out. And Frozen Ace a bit ahead of the Xin Zhao on the clear, too. speaking to the little things, sometimes you optimize better. Electrocute procced for Trozix. Both junglers going to be trading to the top side. Botswana going to go for a deep ward here. I'm not, if you want to be real picky, because there's not too much else to talk about, not a big fan of this ward right now, because you know the Wukong is bottom side. You spot him in on the Raptor ward. So you could have even pushed that a little deeper for info on the next clear, or save that. As Botswana once again getting the passive proc, forcing Loki to take a short trade and back up. As junglers right about now finishing up their full clear. Frozen Ace is going to be spotted on this Tribush ward. Opts to sit around it, trying to go down, but decides against it, is going to walk up. And it looks like it'll be a trade of scuttles, as ward should spot out both junglers and ward off any gank. And actually a huge lead CS-wise in the mid lane for Gojo here. That's very surprising. I mean, considering the flip side, Trozix on the Yasuo. Maybe a bit more comfortable on that pick, but already 200-300 gold from nearly 15 CS in the mid lane. And Farhan farming up quite nicely on the Ezreal as well. Nice try on the hook there from Quantum Force. Sloppy Poppy is going to connect the hook and the root, but Senna just doesn't have much damage at this point in the game, so you're not really in too much threat, barring any drastic missteps in the bottom lane, or something like a Gyarados visit that gets spotted out and is paid with due respect. Botswana TPing back to the top lane. It built up a little bit of a CS lead of his own, but most of this lead is in the mid lane. Already 15 CS. I mean, Gojo just trading well and farming better. So looking for a bounce back game after what was kind of a quiet game one. Definitely have my eyes on the mid laner of Cal Poly here to put himself in the driver's seat a little bit more. As what could be the season for his team, actually. I think that's probably something I'm not touching on enough, because storyline wise, Cal Poly lose this, and then what? I think they're gone. Maybe have one more series, but you want to be winning every tiebreaker series you can to set yourself up for success. Bit of a trade in the bot lane for Jubilatory. It's Frozen Ace, maybe looking for an early Drake again. Loki actually trading well in the top lane here. Albeit base damage is high enough early on, but now that Botswana is 6, should always be relatively safe in these team fights. Frozen Ace monkeying around in the bottom lane here. Maybe catches out Sloppy Poppy, a little mispositioned as Quantum Force is in the area as well. Death Sentence comes out and is sidestepped. Trozix in the area as well. Sloppy Poppy tries to flash out but gets hit by the charm. And the Spiraling Despair from Gojo is not going to be enough to save his support. Sloppy Poppy punished again. A little bit of an overstep. Ulti coming through. Into the Death Realm goes Loki. Botswana flashing forward once more. Pops the passive. Loki ulting upwards to try to get out of it. Now flashing down, but it's not going to be enough as Botswana gets the solo kill. Exactly what you want to see out of the Mordekaiser there. That's now 1-1 and Frozen Ace. Death Sentence. Lantern comes through, but a clone over top and a flash out from Jubilatory keeps him alive now. And Gyarados going in. Forces the flash out from Frozen Ace. TP down from Gojo into the river. Dragon falling down 2K. Dredgeline onto the Ezreal. Farhan caught in trouble, also forced to flash out. Sloppy Poppy marching forward for more. As the wind becomes lightning, followed by the audacious charge from Gyarados. Is quite audacious. Death Sentence on Gojo is not going to mean anything as Farhan is too low and out of mana. Nautilus coming in. Gyarados flashing in with another wind becomes lightning. And that is 3 kills total. 2 kills in that little bot river skirmish. Going over to Cal Poly. This time, it's Quantum biting off a little more than he could chew, as hits the Death Sentence onto Jubilatory and throws the Lantern out, but Frozen Ace deciding to Warrior Trickster over. Trozix forced to flash out after what was a great little pull back in from Gojo, who is putting on quite the display on the way here, as Cal Poly shaping themselves up for a much better game 2. I think you're Last game, they had a strong early game, but it was mostly due to, as I say, a Spirit Rush in forward. Gojo has the flash ready. Hits the fear, too. Trozik's falling dangerously low. Just going to decide to go for the wave here. As Gojo maybe sitting around for that comment, but the last Spirit Rush will be fine for Trozik's to live. A Dawning Shadow over the top! From nowhere! Downtown from the moon! Jubilatory! Sniping that one away. And now Frozen Ace, playing for those neutrals, trying to sneak away these grubs, is going to be able to get 2 Quantum Force, but the Lantern flash out. Beautiful Thresh play there. Sloppy Poppy showing face, helping his team secure the last set of grubs, so not letting all 3 go over to Cal Poly. But it's always tough to get a train of thought out in the Midwest League because action continues to break out. Last early game, a lot of the lead was due to smart map play. This time around, it's just due to better skirmishing, which is kind of what you want to. It's a different look, which is exactly what you want to see after you lose a game 1. And when you're beating them with hands with skirmishing early on, that usually bodes well for later on, which is kind of where Cal Poly lost the game last time, was just getting a little bit outhandsed. Could make a fair case for the comp as well. But in this case, things are looking a lot better. You have a solo kill on the top side, Malphite trying to stack up MR. You have Gyarados actually a level up on Frozen Ace, thanks to the way this early game has gone. Trade of hooks in the bottom lane, a Sloppy Poppy forcing Quantum Force dangerously low. Jubilatory not quite in range for the final auto, and now Frozen Ace is in the bot lane looking to follow up. Riptide comes through. Warrior Trickster forward into the Cyclone knockup. That Death Sentence cancels the hook onto the wall. That is going to be kill on Sloppy Poppy. Farhan picking up his first kill of the game. As Frozen Ace getting a little something back. Maybe you heard me talking smack. It was not smack. Just commenting on how Gyarados was actually ahead. But the biggest lead, the biggest kind of shift up is Gojo into Trozix in this mid lane. As a solo kill in the top lane as well. Can't get a train of thought out here. Botswana trading aggressively, pops the Death Realm, and Loki just sit there and take it. I mean, pops the ulti last second to try to knock up and buy himself some time. But now this Mordekaiser is really getting in a good spot to take over the game. So Gojo, last game, been invisible on the Victor until like 25-30 minutes once those items started to come through and Chaos Storm actually did some damage. On this way though, a level up into his counterpart Trozix, constantly getting push, up 30 CS. It's built up quite the nice gold lead for himself and helping facilitate his. This is exactly what I talked about when you have this roaming mid jungle. You want a great mid laner to play around, because this lets you get deep wards, it lets you play through mid, which is where everything plays through. Botswana 2 levels up on Loki is in trouble though, as Dawning Shadow comes through over top, and another kill from that Senna ulti coming through for Cal Poly. Warrior Trickster forward from Frozen Ace means this should be a kill. Botswana falling a bit low, does pop the passive, and it is enough to get the kill. Wow, what a turn. Has the Dawning Shadow shield at the start. I was sitting a little too casually there, as Botswana should have, yeah, my bad, Botswana. Did not know that was in the bag. The Mordekaiser passive comes through, and then with that W indestructible, storing that damage and the damage he takes, it's a massive like 500 health shield that was enough to kill the level 7 Wukong, who was 3 levels down, as Cal Poly is really running away with this one now. We got a great spread of gold everywhere. And when you look to the side of For Fun, I think all your eyes are really on Farhan's Ezreal here as maybe your only hope. But even that, 20 CS into the Senna is still 500 gold behind. I mean, that is unreal. Dragon spawning in 3 seconds. We'll see what the call is here, as not sure if 4K gold 12 minutes in, 4K gold down, For Fun wants to fight this. Looks like Loki making a bit of a rotation in the bot lane. Calls it off though. Can't let this Mordekaiser get even further ahead. Already level 11. Just 12.5 minutes into this game. Botswana setting himself up quite nicely. Exactly where you want the leads. You have this great skirmishing topside, and you have the support of Senna to back it up. And now it's like a second Drake slotted to go over to For Fun. Quantum Force with a death sentence onto the Nautilus, but this is a 4 versus 3 with the collapse coming in from Cal Poly. As damage comes through, Cyclone comes through, but the Spiraling Despair onto Sloppy Poppy. Sloppy Poppy falls down to the Ignite from Quantum Force, so 1 for 1 for now. Fight in the top lane and in the bottom lane. Botswana ulting Loki into the Death Realm, who is forced to ulti out. And still dies, actually, thanks to the flash from Botswana to chase. So 2 for 1 in the extended play. Once again, going to Cal Poly's favor. Frozen Ace falling for just the support of Sloppy Papu, who was happy with that any time of the week. But Gyarados with a audacious charge forward. Not going to have enough gap close to kill Quantum Force this time. And Botswana pretty much just solo is now knocking down this tower. I mean, we're just 14 minutes in. Plates are about to fall off, and he's about to get first tower just solo. Loki is not having a good time into this Mordekaiser. It's a tough counterpick matchup, so don't blame him. I mean, and we know what Botswana is capable of just from that game 1, so we'll kind of see what the move is here for Cal Poly to try to extend this lead. See here, ping's coming down on the Drake. They didn't get it that last time, and by now 5k gold down 15 minutes in. For fun, gonna just take the objective trade. Rift Herald spawning in 4 seconds here. Frozen Ace waiting around for that. For fun, when you're in a spot like this, best hope you have is to maybe overload in a side lane. It is 1-0 FF at 20 Rika. And it, you know, Cal Poly is all but slated to even that one up here in game 2. Say that Rift Herald does go over to FF at 20. So objective bounty there, getting a little gold back, but, and that's a big but. It's gonna need a lot more. Sloppy Poppy trying to knock down this bot lane tier 1 tower. Jubilatory is a level up on the Ezreal as well. There's just gold leads everywhere. The play here is to just try to get lucky, maybe catch Jubilatory and Sloppy Poppy out. We've seen Sloppy Poppy misstep a few times before in game 1. You can look to try to get a deep ward if you're Quantum Force on the Thresh here, TP in the Trozix, TP in Loki. Try to overload and make a play to get yourself some gold back. As walking up, places the control ward. Death Sentence sidestep by Jubilatory. Chain CC coming through from Sloppy Poppy and the Senna. Quantum Force forced to flash back out. Ignite dropping down. And the chase giving more. Sloppy Poppy connects the dredge line. Moon becomes lightning, falls just short, and in comes the Cyclone for Frozen Ace as Chaos breaks out. Malphite all onto one. Trozix flashing into the back line as well with the Spirit Rush. I can't follow anything here as Botswana, here he comes, TPing in. Low health bars everywhere to see. Is he going to be able to close the gap? Pops the Death Realm onto Trozix, gets the 1. Death Sentence is not going to be enough to peel the Mordekaiser off as he's chasing for more. That is 3 kills over for the Mordekaiser now. Level 13, an absolute menace here as Frozen Ace trying to get some more back. Is this a Penta angle as Botswana picks up the Quadra Gyarados with a knockup. Botswana, oh my goodness, it's stolen by a red buff from Gyarados. Oh my gosh, devastation. I mean, we had our top play of the week there. Wow, some chaos in that bottom lane fight there. As TP is coming through, exactly what you kind of want to see if you're for fun at 20. Trying to get something back, and they do at the start there. They pick off Sloppy. they're putting great damage threat onto Jubilatory and Gojo. But at this stage in the game, once that Mordekaiser shows up, once Gyarados showed up and got access to the backline, you see what happens. I mean, it's a quadra kill. And Gyarados put in... Can't believe Botswana stole Gyarados' Penta there. Just unbelievable. Gotta have more respect for your jungler. I'm gonna watch that back real quick because I'm just curious. So we'll kind of watch back the whole fight because that was probably the fight of the game here. As things looking kind of even in the bottom lane here. Quantum Force trying to make stuff happen. You know Farhan's the strong point of your team right now, so that's where you should be playing around. I like the angle for the hook here. Great sidestep from Jubilatory into the follow-up. Pops the Chain Prison to help kite himself out, followed by the Flay. It is kind of enough right now, and then the TPs come through. So despite Quantum Force getting hooked and this Wind Becomes Lightning falling a little short, this TP eventually from the Mordekaiser, who recalls first. Great flash from Jubilatory out of the Malphite ult, but flash follows from Frozen Ace and the Ahri is going to be enough to befell him. And at this stage in the game, you don't have enough once Botswana TP's in and these low health bars that Gojo kind of peppered up for the Mordekaiser. It's just a wrap. I mean, it's just autos and some Qs. Great pull there for the kill. Kill on Loki under tower. And at this point, I think we were all hoping for Penta. Picks up the Thresh, and then 32 health. Gyarados has the red buff here. 19. The Mordekaiser passive. Yeah, he just dies to a burn. Oh my gosh, man. Oh, that is devastating for Botswana. I mean, you're happy with the results, right? You get a great team fight win there. Like 17 minutes into the game here, as we do have more action, so I'll try to catch those back up, but that was funny to watch. Sloppy Poppy, great dredge line onto the tower to get out of there. And now Frozen Ace and Trozix are caught running, trying to ulti out of things. But a flash hook from Sloppy Poppy, wanting more, into the Riptide, onto 3. Frozen Ace caught slowed too. Is going to limp away. That Wukong just barely getting out. But having to use all these cooldowns to do so. And another hook from Sloppy Poppy onto Loki is going to cost him his life. That is a trade any Nautilus is happy to take. Catching back up. Botswana with a solo kill onto Farhan. I think if you're FF at 20, this is where you maybe live up to your team's namesake here. Just a bit of a tough game. Things didn't go your way early game. I think, you know, maybe the look out of Gojo kind of surprised us a bit. Doing well piloting that. Another strong performance from the bottom lane. Stronger performance from the top side of Botswana and Gyarados, really making action happen early on. It's Quantum Force going for a flash hook, connects, and the Lantern brings Farhan in. Jubilatory falling dangerously low, but a flash in from Gyarados with the Wind Becomes Lightning. Frozen Ace flashes over the Raptor's wall to try to secure. Gyarados getting the kill back onto Ezreal, so it's a trade of 80 carries, and Frozen Ace sidesteps the Wind Becomes Lightning for that to be the end of that. A lot of flashes used there onto the Senna, who herself had her flash coming up in just about 30 seconds. So once again, something that happened in game 1 too. 420 is really good at punishing summoner spells. Recognizing windows, we have this amount of time before flash comes up. Let's look to punish it. They set up the play well. It's just a Black Cleaver Senna, and Farhan's just on a Triforce, so there wasn't too much damage to follow through once that CC actually came in. Frozen Ace is able to pick that one up though. Still putting on quite the performance for how far behind him and his team are. 6 out of 7 KP here in the 22-minute game. As gold lead. A little over 7K right now. Sloppy Poppy going in for some more hooks. Keep your eye on him. He may go a little too far sometimes, but definitely going to get things started for his team. That's one thing you can count on him for. It's a bit of trades in the mid lane. Sloppy Poppy getting caught by the death sentence as Loki with the one-man unstoppable force. Dawning Shadow over top. This is a 3 versus 4 that Cal Poly want all the smoke for. Gojo flashing forward onto the Ezreal and the Thresh. Picking up a triple kill. Botswana with a solo kill in the top lane. Now 23-7. That is a clean cross-map ace coming through for Cal Poly as they look to take this series to the distance. Knocking down those tier 2 towers. All of those tier 2 towers are now gone. Lots of gold into the pockets. Now 12k gold lead. This one's done and dusted. Hit us to a game 3. Maybe get Botswana a few more kills, you know, make up for that red buff Fern Penta. I feel like, I mean, I don't know the bloopers sort of tales though, but I feel like we just have quite a good kind of bloopers list building up from this tiebreaker. We got that double TP. I don't know if anyone tuned in for that earlier. Antarctican duo TP mind control tech. Some six-pack disciples in the Instinct versus Femboys game. It's always just funny because at this level, you know teams are playing at the edge, and when tiny stuff like that happens, it's hilarious. And then having that Penta stolen by literally a burn from 30 health. Quantum Force keeps fishing. Gotta respect it. You're on this Thresh. Great playmaking potential for your team. Try to make something happen, but really at this point in the game, it's where you're looking for an Elder flip. And that's about your only chance. I think Cal Poly should be able to close this one out pretty smoothly here. Getting the wave shoved in. Dragon spawning in 20 seconds. That will be Soul for Cal Poly Division 2. Just another barrier against the engage potential that For Fun and 20 have. There's a little bit of a dance party in the pit. Why not? Sloppy Poppy slopping over his Poppy. Frozen Ace maybe looking for a steal. What else are you going to do at this point in the game? Cyclone's in. Falls low. Actually gets it. Keeping hope for his team alive. I don't even know if it's hope. Like I said, I think your best chance is an Elder flip. But that's big for jungler pride. Any jungler knows that. Snagging that one away. You're looking to take that one with you to game 3. I'll say that for sure. But he does fall, and with no jungler, got to imagine that is going to be Baron going over to Cal Poly. Farhan doesn't even have the True Shot Barrage, so For Fun, maybe get the waves pushed out, try to crash a few little things, but with Baron going over just 26 minutes in, this gold lead still around 11, 12k. Expect maybe a 4-1 to come through for the side of For Fun as Gojo maybe caught out a little bit as Death Sentence into Unstoppable Force, and this Malphite gonna clap him down. Falling low is Gojo. He's not gonna be able to run his way out here. We'll see if Trozic wants to ulti over as Dawning Shadow comes through. Spirit Rush 1, Spirit Rush 2, gonna secure the kill for the mid laner, and a massive shutdown is that a Sloppy Ploppy flashes in and doesn't catch Trozic. Loki falling dangerously low as well. Gyarados gonna be able to finish that one up with the Wind Becomes Lightning. Quantum Force and Trozic's trying to kite it out, but it's right into a tower. It's gonna fall them, and they don't even get the tower. Jubilatory falling low against Frozen Ace, but 2 levels up this 80 carry is onto the jungler. Means they'll be just chilling. Wind Becomes Lightning, flash forward from Gyarados. An audacious charge and a dredge line to boot means the 28th kill in 27 minutes will go the way of Cal Poly. And now pushing into the doorsteps of the base with the Baron buff. Farhan, no team around him, gets hooked by Sloppy Poppy, should be able to walk this one out for now. Arcane Shift should come up shortly. Is forced to pop the berry, and the flash still catches him. Slobby Poppy Dredgeline coming through despite the flash. He's caught out maybe a bit far, but Botswana here to back him up. Gojo with the damage to boot as well. As double kill going over for the Hui. He wants more. Loki in the Death Realm, but that'd be enough. This is Botswana picking up his 11th kill. And that should just about do it here. This one, first game that these two have played that is going to end below 30 minutes. So, bit of a rare one here. Sloppy Poppy getting another hook, timing it well with the Senna Shadow to get the snare. Picking up a few more kills for the road, because why not? And in dominating fashion, Cal Poly and 4Fun at 20 is going to game 3, going the distance here in this first set of Group B tiebreaker games. Not too much to dissect here, right? I mean, kind of just domination through and through everywhere on the map for the side of Cal Poly. Really exactly what you want to see in a bounce back game. As it was a pretty tough loss, tight loss. I guess there's tough losses, there's tight losses. It can be both. It was a tough and tight loss for them in game 1. 36 any loss over 35 minutes gonna be rough. As always something you could have done better, especially in that late game. Getting out executed hands wise, but flipping the script here in game 2 as a great new look for them, kind of led by Gojo in the damage department there at least. Gojo kind of awakening, activating the what's the purple, like, his little aura thing. Gojo got activated, and Botswana doing his thing in that counterpick matchup, a devastating counterpick matchup. I think that's something Loki is probably talking to his team about right now, or at least discussing, is how are we going to kind of limit what Botswana has done to him thus far. And in the mid lane, Gojo versus Trozix kind of flipped too. Like, how do we get back to putting Trozix in the spot where Trozix is the one with the initiation and the power in those lanes? Because that's ultimately what's going to enable Frozen Ace to set up the rest of his team, as I think that is still where 4Fun at 20 plays through, but you can't really do that with lanes like this. So we'll see how things go. Once again, it is Fearless, so that means it is going to be a new look in some capacity for both these teams. I think the bot lane of Cal Poly has been doing pretty well in lane so far, especially when you consider this was a Senna pick that does not have as much kill pressure in lane. So we'll see what they kind of opt for in this game 3. I'd love to see a high pressure kill lane and kind of see what they can run away with there. As Farhan and Quantum Force started off well, farmed up nicely, but with just the lead that was everywhere else on the map, not quite possible for them to pilot themselves to a victory elsewhere. Waiting for game 3 here, as we have gone the distance. Don't know if any East Coasters are still up. I kind of hope not. I mean, if you are, I hope we get a good game. But if not, please do take it easy. Pacific time, so things work out kind of well. I think in general too. I don't know, if CLT is still here. I don't know who else caster-wise is based out of West Coast, but that can also just be something that kind of defaults to me. That way you guys don't have to stay up too late. I gotta work tomorrow morning, so I get it, right? But for me, it's only 10 o'clock here, so plenty within getting a little close to my bedtime. But well, we're staying up for a special occasion here. Grandpa's gonna make that happen, and definitely try to bring the energy as well. Try to clean up the cast too, rather than just being like, "Oh, this is crazy. What's going on?" Loki sold that that penta call, but glad, almost glad it wasn't a penta, because I think Botswana deserved maybe something a little more oomph. Got Clash this weekend. Ninja Turks may actually win a game. You'd love to see that. Been through almost the entire Sessions Diana playlist. Cue up the Vi. Yep, Dante. Big clappers. It's Cal Poly's mascot. Musty? Oh gosh, what an awful name. Musty the Mustang. Actually, I guess this could be Cal. Is it Cal Poly Slow or Cal Poly Pomona? Do you know? Billy Bronco. I kind of just wanted it to be Musty, just because. Why? What did you do? Well, you're naming yourself Musty. Can you really be lovable if your name is Musty? You kind of look musty too, like all love. Living up to his namesake there a bit. There we go. That's what I've been waiting for. Thank you, Frozen Ace. So it looks like, to no one's surprise, if you've been kind of paying attention to these last two drafts, sides, and winners, that FF at 20, the losers of the last series, are going to take the red side, the winner of the last two series as well. Jubilatory, first time Senna Pro. Type, man, type. Why not? Just send it. Hey, season on the line? Season on the line? Martians have the death beam pointed at Earth? I want Jubilatory Senna. You heard it here first. I am giving all the props to Botswana and Gojo for that game, though. I think if things don't go so well from your solo laners, that first time Senna may be a little less OP, to be completely frank with you. But that's adding some treat, keeping things interesting there. Appreciate you popping in and telling me that. Makes the win all the more impressive. Yeah, Crit Throw's a little surprised with that one too. As kind of waiting for draft here. You know, lots to talk about, right? This is game 3, big stakes here. It's these two teams and what's one other team? Yeah, UAFS Esports. Those are the 3 teams battling for one spot in this Group B playoffs. So, a lot to talk about. I mean, you don't want to lose this next game. It's going to be a tense game 3, and we're all here for it. Great spot to be on your Thursday night. Wondering if I missed the draft flow link, but regardless, doesn't matter too much. I'm going to run over for a quick tinkle. I will be right back. Just in case this game goes long, don't want to miss too much. Yeah, looks like I was unfortunately too late for the draftable link, so bit of a bummer there. Happens. We'll catch up once we actually see the picks. I've kind of missed big picture of draft every time anyway, so I think the biggest thing with these two teams is where are they going to go now? I know we're going to see some engaged supports coming out, skirmishing junglers, counter or hopefully, Botswana on a kind of carry-ish pick, but from there, it's a little more open. How are we going to navigate the mid lane matchup? How, like Trozix versus Gojo here, are things going to kind of go back to an equilibrium, or does Trozix maybe have another surprise pick? As bans will probably be the same, so that's nothing too much to dissect. And in terms of AD carry like tier list, who's left that you can comfortably play. I mean, I guess Jubilatory is fine first timing champions, so that adds another dimension. But for everyone else, champ pools may get a little pinched here, especially as bans come through. So I think we already saw that in the last game. Thresh, great champion to play, and Quantum navigated it well, but there's a reason you don't see it at all nowadays. It's incredibly tough to make useful. And so Leona ban coming through, Karma ban coming through. Maybe Quantum's champ pool was a little pinched there. So not necessarily saying that's the case, don't want to throw out any accusations, but just always something to keep in mind. How do these teams adapt to a game 3 of Fearless? Because that's when things really start to get pinched and the depth of your bag starts to get revealed. How deep does it go? I'm gonna ask for a spec link just to get that. Perfect. Thank you, Sloppy Poppy. Can always count on this lobster. So, oh my gosh, I just realized how close I probably went to the camera there, bending down. Lovely look of Nexus's forehead, huh? So, we have Cal Poly on blue side, forfeit at 20 on red side. Let's see, first round of bans going to be mirrored there. Corky first pick coming through for Cal Poly. Very strong early game AD carries. Tank top in the Scion coming through. And the Annie, good control mage. No complaints here. If that's what sets up Gojo for a more stable lane, that's all good news for the side of forfeited 20. I'm getting lost, man. Some spice in the draft, though, as we're kind of zooming through it right now. So Kaisa locked in. So pretty standard draft so far on the red side right now. Saving the last pick for jungle. But on the blue side, Cal Poly bringing the bringing the heat here. Corky, which you initially think is going to be AD, going to be flex mid as Zaya's picked on 4. Not even sure if I'm necessarily a fan of the Zaya here, just because it doesn't. Zaya is typically an anti-dive character, right? And there's honestly not too much dive here. But that's probably just picked as a comfort pick into Kaisa. Zaya versus Kaisa, a matchup any AD carry who's been playing in the last 5-6 years should be pretty comfortable with. So I think Jubilatory, probably not first time in that one. And then a Karthish jungle coming through for Gyarados versus a Viego on the side of Frozen Ace. Throwing down the gauntlet, not even going the skirmishing, just going for carry junglers here. So that will be, I think, the kind of area to watch. Brandino, it is 1-1 in the best of 3. Glad to see you made it out here, because we had quite the game 1. We had a bit of a stomp game 2 to respond, and now we find ourselves here in game 3. What is a crucial game? I don't remember exactly how the tiebreaker works, but It is 3 teams in 1 spot, so win to get in. Production. I don't know if you can call what I got going here production. Yes, this is the draft for Game 3. We are just about starting Game 3. So kind of taking a look. Talking back to it. I think Karthus versus Viego is going to be your real marquee matchup here. How are these junglers going to perform their full clear, and after that, how are they going to kind of get ahead? Because we saw last game how Gyarados was able to get ahead was through some great solo lane help. Gyarados kind of just able to walk in, pick up some free kills, pick up some free farm. Thanks to Gojo, absolutely crazy bounce back from game 1, up like 30 CS in the mid lane to his counterpart. And then Botswana, been dominating these first 2 games, is in a spot to do so again on this 3rd game. I think it's a little tougher in this type of matchup. Aatrox great into Scion because you have easy cancellations of that Scion decimating smash. But it's Scion. Scion doesn't care too much about dying, can still pick up the wave. Scion is the tankiest character in the game, gonna stack up that health and, you know, manage all right. So we'll see if Gojo can still get ahead on this Corki into Annie. I feel like that should be a good matchup for the Corki. Kind of have some kill pressure. Annie's going to be forced to hold her stuns and her abilities to not let Corki Valkyrie forward and kind of pepper her down with the Gatling gun base damage. And looking in the bottom lane too, this is, I think, a bit interesting as well. You got very explosive matchups all across the map. Exactly what you want in a best of 3 game 3 decider match. Xayah, Leona, Kai'Sa. Once again, engaged supports coming out for both Quantum and Sloppy Poppy. And then Xayah versus Kai'Sa, classic matchup. A lot of kill pressure on both sides, really leaving up to skill. And we have seen in these first 2 games how Farhan likes to get in the face, likes to play aggressive. And Jubilatory and Sloppy Poppy, though, have been getting the better of them so far. So advantage isn't necessarily in any specific lane. I will say this is kind of a weird lane where it's like whoever goes in first kind of loses the trade. Unless there's a misstep and you get yourself into a good spot for a trade. So that'll be very kind of knife's edge bottom lane. Top lane, expect Botswana on this Aatrox into the Scion to get the push early. And expect this Corki to also kind of get the push. So maybe keep this Karthus safe from what has been, you know, this is Frozen Ace's team. So if Viego gets ahead, then you're in trouble. I think you have win cons on both sides everywhere. You don't want any character anywhere getting ahead. Both sides scale very well. You have Scion on one side, Karthus on one side. I will give the edge scaling wise to Cal Poly here, as you do have double 80 carry. And in terms of ease of execution, double 80 carry is always going to be kind of easier to navigate. You have solid frontline too with Botswana Aatrox and that Quantum Leona. Whereas unless you're really getting a reset onto Frozen Ace, which is very doable with kind of Annie base damage, you need resets to win fights if you're 420. And Frozen Ace is your guy to do that. So I get that. I should probably check. Yeah. Frozen Ace, second team all jungler for Group B, whereas Jubilatory and Sloppy Poppy are the second team bottom lane for this Cal Poly side. So kind of a split of things. It's the mark of a very competitive, parity-filled group when you have team players from all teams making the All-Stars. In not at all Group A bias, you know, shout out to Tango Fish, made Group A. second team, and then I think we don't play enough. Top laner made a first team actually as a fourth place team, which is just a testament to how crazy some of these games are. So, game 3, ladies and gentlemen, here we are at. Looks like a 5-man invade to get us started. We are getting straight into it. As slowly sneaking up, trying to catch Jubilatory off guard here, as Rel Crashdown is going to fall short, and that will be the end of that. Little trade of wards, I suppose. 3 D-Blades across the board for the side of Cal Poly. Sloppy Poppy doing the sloppy poppy things, dancing around. So yeah, eyes are going to be on Frozen Ace for me at least, because I just, from what I've seen, I don't think you're going to have great winning lanes here on the side of 420. I think it will be up to this Viego and what it can do early to help kind of usher his team into late game and into a fighting chance in this pivotal game 3. Both junglers, this is the first time this has happened this series, both junglers starting same side and top side, so both junglers clearing down. I think kind of recognizing Aatrox versus Scion is a lane you will leave alone. If it's one, it'll be one in isolation, whereas this explosive kill lane is something you want to be paying attention to. 3v3 is going to be pretty even as well. As a bit of a Cathian Reigns, and I believe it's double daggers getting traded back and forth. Those basic Q abilities, getting a little bit of poke. A lot of posturing for position here. See in the mid lane, Gojo already getting the push, so great look for the side of Cal Poly. This was something that they didn't have in game 1 that made the difference in game 2. Having a mid laner with push, with agency, letting Gojo do his thing. Zenith Blade falls a little bit short in the bottom lane. As double dagger blade collar, getting a little more damage onto Farhan. He's getting a tad bit chunked out, which will be something to watch come later on. And Botswana, what he can to farm up, but this is kind of what we saw earlier. What we kind of mentioned is it's a Scion, tanky. Love this ward from Sloppy Poppy. They know Viego's pathing down thanks to an earlier ward on Raptors, so this just kind of ensures, okay, that's what's happening. There's no cheesy 3 camp going on. Frozen Ace, it's just good League of Legends. Recognizes, hey, there's probably a ward here. Leona win Mia for like 5 seconds. Zenith Blade connects onto Farhan. Ignite drops down, and Farhan forced to flash out as Quantum Force Crashdowns in to try to save his AD carry, build a little space, but already this Group B second team bottom lane making their presence known, as Viego going to show face and Gyarados in the area too. Sneaking in, Jubilatory gets flashed on, cleanses out of the Rel stun, gets the Blade Caller route onto Quantum Force, who falls low. Frozen Ace flashes after Jubilatory, looking for the kill, does get the reset, and First Blood is dangerously low, is going to fall to Gyarados, who just needs a little more mana for the Skittles, but doesn't quite get it. Picks up the Karthus body, and now Sloppy Poppy's in trouble as well. Tries to get the stun in. It is chaos in the bottom lane here. We are just 3.5 minutes in, and already things break out in craziness. And we knew both junglers were pathing down. We knew likely stuff was going to break out, but was not expecting it to be like that. I mean, Gyarados just not quite able to land those Karthus Qs to have enough damage onto Frozen Ace, and Frozen Ace getting himself off to a great start with 2 kills. Gyarados picking up 2 kills for himself with just the passive there. It looked really good for Cal Poly at the start. You know, you forced Kai'Sa out. It was almost a 2 versus 3. Jubilatory chunked the Rel very low with the Blade Caller. But Frozen Ace was hitting the Xayah that entire time and was able to get the reset, flashing after with the chase. And from there, with that reset, like I said, resets are going to win forfeit at 20 this game. Really the only way they're going to win. Just kind of see it on display there, gets the reset and is able to kind of do work in what was almost a 1 versus 3. Consider how far away his bot lane was. What a shout, Gio. PTA Leona does kill there. Trevitis, be totally honest. I don't care. As 3-man play into the mid lane. Flash forward from Trozix into the crash down CC is going to be enough for Feet of Warfare 5 minutes in. Frozen Ace picking up his 3rd kill there. Great roam coming out from Quantum. Making stuff happen, getting their mid laner accelerated. And that chain CC is going to be enough for Frozen Ace to jump out to 3 early kills here. Gyarados on the Karthus farming up quite nicely though, and now making a play in the bottom lane, but looks like this ward will spot him out, see what path he decides to take. Both junglers are going to kind of reconvene in this bot river here. Gyarados going to get the scuttle first, and then eyes are going to turn towards the Drake. Whichever team has been getting the Drakes has been winning this series, so I think neither team wants to give this up easily. Frozen Ace shown in the air. Zenith Blade in from Sloppy Poppy, but a bit disaggregated from his team now, and Trozix on the flank, waltzing on in. We're going to have a 4v4 in the river here, 6 minutes in. Zenith Blade into Frozen Ace. Floppy Poppy falling dangerously low, but dodging around kind of everything here, and now walking up boldly, gets the stun onto the Kaisa Gojo. Valkyrie in. Blade Caller onto Farhan means the Kaisa is going to fall down. And that will be a kill over to Cal Poly. Yeah, I'll go ahead and fix that right away, Trevitis. Like I said, appreciate any and all feedback. I just got to figure out how to fix this. I've had this for like my last year of on and off streaming. I'll fix it for next time so I don't miss any of the game. So, first Drake coming over to the side of Cal Poly. Off to a pretty solid early game start, really on both sides. Both junglers picking up quite a bit of gold. In that case, Cal Poly just first the Drake, had the bot push, had the mid push after Gojo TP'd back from getting killed, and able to just kind of establish position there and get a more favorable engage, walking together as 4 into 3 with Trozix a little behind the scene there. Blade Caller onto 2, and in comes the Karthus Requiem. Not going to be enough for the kill as Jubilatory just takes down one for himself. Frozen Ace, Heartbreaker, and Flash onto Botswana gets another kill there. And that will be, once again, just a charade of kills as things remain, they keep staying banging. The bot lane continuing to be the strong point for Cal Poly here. As great engage from Sloppy Poppy, the Zenith Blade onto Farhan. Into a 2-man Root Caller from Jubilatory. Didn't even need the Requiem. But had it for good measure anyway. Botswana not able to quite fight off the 1v2 in the top lane. As Frozen Ace picking up those neutral objectives. Getting his team the grubs. Quantum Force cancels the Valkyrie in the mid lane, and the Tibbers comes down, forces Gojo to flash out. Big cooldown to lose on a marksman 80 carry in the mid lane. As Ping's coming down in the bottom lane too now. Sloppy Poppy looking to make a move. Both these supports kind of showing face around the map here, but Sloppy Poppy having it converted to results in the bottom lane. Zenith Blade falls just short. And in the top lane, I think this is very big to note. Botswana has been winning lane handily in these last 2 games. This game 3, not at all the case. This Scion, very safe tanky pick. And Loki's delivering on that. Just getting more and more health for himself, while slowly building up a respectable CS lead as well. Botswana just doesn't have the damage to shred through the Scion. Maybe once items start coming in, they'll be fine. And Gyarados going to pay a visit to the top lane as well. This Scion doesn't have the unstoppable onslaught. And Aatrox pops the World Ender to try to get things started off. Gyarados going to be able to line up these Skittles here. Loki grabs the wave. That's all he can do. And that will be a kill over to Botswana. Maybe a bit of a caster curse there, but Nothing Botswana will complain about, and honestly, nothing Loki will complain about too much either. Just overstepping a little bit, getting the wave in, but with that Scion passive, still picks up the wave and has TP to get the rest of the minions that come crashing into the tower here. So there's that TP coming through. Just going to be more waves traded back and forth. We have Drake in 45 seconds here. And I'd expect that to be kind of Cal Poly's Drake to at least set up for, just based off how this bottom lane is going. 800 gold up. This mid lane, 800 gold up. So they should be able to get Prio to kind of shepherd in Gyarados to a good spot for that Drake. And from there, we'll kind of see what happens. It is only a 1k gold lead on the side of Cal Poly. And we have seen in these fights and throughout this series that anything can happen. Both teams putting on some impressive displays of mechanics and impressive feats of team play, really, in these fights. So that'll be something to watch for as Dragon does spawn up. Frozen Ace, though, and the rest of FF20 are the first ones there. Despite the really lack of push they have here, we'll see if a fight breaks out as Gyarados rings the wall and tries to approach. Dragon falling down to 1.5. 1k is going to be smited away from Frozen Ace, and they're going to be able to walk on out of there. Up the river away from Sloppy Poppy, who is the only real engage on this bottom side of Cal Poly. More jockeying for position down in the bottom lane here. As we'll see if Sloppy Poppy wants to make something happen, but I think Frozen Ace sniffs it out, so we'll see. The engage is kind of a successful bait. Quantum Force flashing forward into a two-man knockup, and in comes Diviego, a TP down on the minions, but a Blade Call into Frozen Ace forces him out, along with the Requiem. Gojo in now, Valkyrie forward, and now Farhan's caught out, forced to flash out. Crazy turn of events in the bottom lane there. As Gojo quick on the TP there, Gyarados quick on the Requiem there to keep his bottom lane alive in what would have been otherwise a very tough 3 versus 2. And forcing flashes, all summoners out actually from the bottom lane of For Fun. Tibbers down on a Gojo. Going to get a little more damage for Trozix, who I think we're kind of seeing this game 1 story as well, where your mid laner's just farming up. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you're not necessarily playing through mid until this control mage gets a few more items and has more damage threat. So we'll see if that really affects things. And Gyarados, want to point this out too, against the second team jungler of Group B, has been farming up a storm on this Karthus. 2 levels up, it's exactly what you want to do. Few successful invades into both the top and bot side of Frozen Ace. And this is why you pick the Karthus. Maybe it was a bit of a curveball for Frozen Ace and the rest of For Fun, especially with the winning lanes that you have on Cal Poly's side. That enables the Karthus to invade, to take away, to build this lead. And now, I mean, most of the gold lead is on him. Almost 1,000 gold up, 600 in the mid lane, almost 1,000 in the bottom lane. It's looking good. And Sloppy Poppy with another engage onto the Kaisa. Chain CC comes through with Blade Caller from Jubilatory, and that will be another kill for the second team Group B All-Stars of Cal Poly Division 2. So with no 80 carry, we'll see if Jubilatory kind of wants to put more pressure on this tower, as Gojo may be a little caught out here. Trozix making his way down for the river. A lot of numbers here on the side of Cal Poly are going to probably force out For Fun at 20 as they retreat up the river. And Jubilatory peppering down Quantum Force with a root, gets the Xayah combo through, forces the crash down out. And now Farhan's going to have a tough time walking up back to his team. Gyarados looking for a little bit more. Does have the Requiem available. Probably choose not to use it. Frozen Ace is just running around looking for anything to farm, but Gyarados is taking it all. This has been an absolute clinic from pretty much everyone on Cal Poly as Botswana looking to get in on the action too for some trades. But here's Frozen Ace in the area, and a knock-up onto Botswana is going to keep him there. Frozen Ace stopping the Rift Herald, is taking a little bit of damage. The Requiem's going to come through as well. Flash is traded out, and Botswana is going to come away with kill number 1. Forces the flash out from Loki as first tower falls for the way of Cal Poly Slow in the bottom lane. But back to my original thought, when you have Karthus, the trouble with Karthus is if you don't get this huge lead in terms of power farming, because you don't have great ganking. But when you have lanes that are winning by themselves, you don't necessarily need a gank, and that kind of opens you up to just farm it up and build a lead, start invading, and now, I mean, almost 70 CS up. That is ridiculous into what is an incredible jungler in Frozen Ace, and there's really just nothing the Viego can do, because when you have losing lanes like this, contesting these jungle camps means you just give up your life. And these lanes are kind of losing to the point where when you gank, you aren't able to accomplish anything, which we see thanks to some great play from Botswana in the top lane. We saw it earlier in the bottom lane with Gojo TPing. Great coverage from these players. Farhan forced out as Gojo Valkyries forward. Maybe going a bit far here as Frozen Ace is in the area, and Trozics is coming down from the jungle as well. Waddling on over is going to be able to close the gap here. Gojo has no flash as Tibbers misses. Gojo not quite stunned. Viego trying to line up the Heartbreaker stun, not going to line up that either, but the Chilling Smite comes through, and that should be enough for the kill. Kill number 1 going over for Trozics, but not a little tougher than maybe should have been. As now another tower falls in the mid lane, and Quantum Force wants to pounce. Flash forward from Trozics for the stun follow-up. Jubilatory falling down before he has a chance to use anything, and now Sloppy Poppy left out to dry as well. For fun at 20, bouncing back now in this mid game with a few favorable skirmishes. Right as Drake is spawning too. Great engage by Quantum Force onto 3 after having already killed Gojo, but Botswana wants more, and the Requiem comes in enough to smite down Frozen Ace from the sky. Quantum Force low, forced to flash out, and in comes the unstoppable onslaught, but Loki does not want to be there. Trying to get out. Botswana chasing down a free kill on a Farhan, thanks to the damage coming through earlier from Gyarados' Requiem. Yeah, so Corki was calling back all the way here. Slasher with some, pointing it out, great fancy feed from Corki, dodging the Tibbers stun. That's something. Does fall anyway because it is a 3 versus 1. But then For Fun at 20, using that kind of numbers advantage they have to force in the mid lane, catching Jubilatory off guard with that Rel Magnetstorm crash down, followed by, excuse that thought, as Loki getting chain CC'd up. Just Jubilatory have enough damage on this Essence Reaver, will pepper him down, takes a few tower shots, but gonna have enough health to live. Quantum Force kind of catching Jubilatory off guard with the flash just the Magnetstorm crash down, and the flash stun coming through from Annie means it was just a bit too much to handle, so they were able to get a little something back. But then we see it's exactly where all the gold is for Cal Poly on Gyarados. I mean, he is scaled. This ain't no Magikarp, man. This guy ain't splashing around. He hydro pumping your ass. Like, he doing work. That Requiem come in, Frozen Ace was just, he was gone from like 500 health, and Trozics was too low to do anything after that, so Botswana just able to walk up, World Ender in, and a few autos to kill. Sloppy Poppy, once again, caught out a little deep, is going to flash out, but Killer Instinct in from Farhan. Just that. Picking up another kill for himself. First kill of the game, actually. Bit of an overstep from Sloppy. Got to be a little careful with that as Frozen Ace gets pulled back. He's going to be able to walk it out. For Fun at 20 has been great at doing this, though. Despite the fact that they're 5k gold lead, 5k down, do not count them out because they have been able to get these picks. And when you're playing this Viego style comp, and when gold is on the Viego, picks, resets is how you win the game. So keep your eye on Frozen Ace, on this star jungler for Fun, to see if they can continue to set him up and make stuff happen here. As ping's coming down from Otacon, spawning in just 10 seconds here. Again, should be Cal Poly's to kind of take. They should have priority over lanes here, over these bushes. Start to push their ward line. Sloppy Poppy gonna catch out Quantum Force, but with that crash down, I don't expect it to be anything too much. As Botswana trading in the bottom lane, just getting the waves shoved up to put themselves in a position to play for the objectives. As Sloppy Poppy catching out Farhan once again, and Jubilatory with the follow-up CC. Where have we seen this tale before? Many a pages, nearly a whole chapter. Sloppy Poppy catching Farhan up a little too far and landing an ulti, landing a Zenith Blade, followed by a Blade Caller root from Jubilatory. It's just enough damage to melt down the Xayah. Gotta be wondering if Cleanse was the summoner spell of choice this game. Gyarados looking to just solo the Otacon. I mean, this team is doing work. We saw Gojo just pick up the tier 2 in the top lane. Frozen Ace looking for whatever he can to farm. Now 3 levels down into this Viego. It's approaching desperation for 4Fun20. As this Viego, you're looking at Annie and Rel to make some crazy kind of team fight wombo combo happen. We've seen them team up before, so and we know 4Fun20 is great at these snap engage type comps. We saw that in game 1, so that's really where your hope is right now. Like, can we catch them off guard? Pop Jubilatory before he gets the chance to pop Cleanse, Flash, or that Feather Storm. Maybe pop Gyarados, who's stepping too far. Sloppy Poppy tends to overstep in the pursuit of these engages. On the flip side, if you're Cal Poly, you just want to keep playing things slow. You have this double marksman Karthus comp. You're okay scaling. Trozik's looking for a little play in the top lane. Frozen Ace right there with him. Rel and Leona coming up as well as the Requiem comes down, and Quantum Force is going to get the crash down, but Gojo flashes out of it. More Fancy Fever from Corki. Trozik's flashing in with the Tibbers is going to be enough to befell Gojo, but Jubilatory walking on up, and the World Ender coming through from Botswana flashes forward, gets the kill onto the Annie, and is chasing for more. Jubilatory, Sloppy Poppy leading the charge, and 4 versus 3, a flash! Featherstorm forward forces the flash out from Farhan and company. And it looks like that will be the end of that chase. Lots of flashes popped on both sides in both the chase and the retreats, as Jubal and Sloppy wanted all the smoke there. Whereas 4Fun20 recognizing they got the pick they wanted and just trying to get out with their lives. Knock up not quite going to land onto Jubilatory. Loki falling dangerously low, and the Blade Caller is going to be enough to secure another kill for Jubilatory. This Xayah getting set up to do work alongside Gyarados' Karthus in terms of the damage lifting for this Cal Poly Division 2 squad. Cloud Dragon is up. You see Gyarados start to make his way towards that, and bring your eye to the scoreboard. We have officially hit a flame horizon. 100 CS up, 230 farm on the Karthus. Incredible stuff in this game 3 from Gyarados. Came to play. Wants that final spot in the playoffs for Group B. And ramping up nicely to do so. I think, you know, all these tier 2 towers are now taken. You have Baron up in a minute. Almost 8k gold lead. You're kind of 8k gold lead, actually, not almost. You're playing this game now slow if you're Cal Poly. I think Sloppy Poppy may have taken some Raptors there. Hey, you deserve it, King. Don't let those missing pings tell you otherwise. Gojo fishing around the top lane again. This is what 4Fun20 is kind of recognized as the weak points, the maybe pincer point where they can get a few picks and slowly start to crank this game back in their favor. We've seen them make plays onto Gojo before. But Gojo probably recognizing that, playing a little more safe now. As more recalls coming through. Baron spawning in 25 minutes here at 25. I think that is your play if you're Cal Poly. Otherwise, this game is going to continue to be slow unless Sloppy or Quantum decide otherwise. Blue buff picked up. I mean, Frozen Ace just can't do anything as his jungle. It is brutal to watch. Just picking up what he can, but in the face of Gyarados, there's only so much he can pick up. And Death Cap coming through now. 3 items on the Karthus, and Ping's starting to come down for the Baron. Means Sloppy Poppy throwing out the Solar Flare is going to fall a little short, but short enough cooldown. I'm a big fan of just throwing that Leona ulti out willy-nilly. It's a low enough cooldown. He'll be right back up come the next fight. So, not too bad. Trozik's falling a little bit short on that Tibbers ulti again. And now, Forefront of 20 trying to make their way into this Baron pit, but it's already gone. Gyarados is maybe a bit low. And Botswana caught out, forced to pop the World Ender. Requiem comes in over top, is not going to be able to heal through all of this. And one reset comes over from Frozen Ace, takes over the Aatrox. Sloppy Poppy forced in. Quantum Force flashing forward on a Jubilatory, forces him to Featherstorm out, but it is enough for Jubilatory to kite him out. And now Gojo is in, joining the party, Valkyrieing forward, able to pick up a few more kills. Jubilatory stepping up quite far, but is going to be able to space it well. Another Solar Flare stun onto Farhan, story of the game. And that will be done. That will be it. It is done and dusted. Cal Poly Division 2 with this Baron buff. We're going to march down this top lane and close this one out quickly. It was a great game 1, over 35 minutes. It was a dominating game 2 for Cal Poly, and even more dominating in game 3 here. Just playing the map beautifully, start to finish. In this tiebreaker series, it didn't come easily as the Z question mark emotes get thrown up. It did not come easily at all, but Cal Poly Division 2, behind the efforts of really all of their players there, come out on top 2-1. Yeah, taking a look at the stats, I mean, it's kind of what you'd expect if you were watching the game. Botswana, these Aatrox damage numbers are always going to be inflated when you're playing into a tank like the Scion, but the rest of the damage spread right there. You know, Gyarados 17k on the Karthus, Gojo not doing too much on the Corki, but holding his own in lane, and then Jubilatory and Sloppy Poppy dominating. I mean, Farhan had a rough time there, less damage than the Rel. 4 of 20 did what they could, honestly, for what was some really rough early game starts. Frozen Ace trying to farm it up, and Quantum Force with some good engages. Trozik's falling a bit short with those Annie ults, but just not quite enough for them to close it out this time around. I'm not sure how the tiebreaker kind of schedule works, but I believe it's Cal Poly plays one more game. That is scheduled, against UAFS tomorrow at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time. So tune in if you want to watch probably some more Sloppy Poppy bangers, amongst other things. If not, I mean, I hope you had a good time watching this series tonight. Definitely one of the more entertaining ones when you consider the stakes, the game length, some of the fun picks that came out, and definitely some highlight moments. Shout out to that almost penta in game 2, as well as some crazy team fights in all 3 games. Thank you for watching. It was Nexus on the cast today. I'll probably be around, hopefully doing a few more casts throughout playoffs. Just depends on what's available. And we'll hope you all have a good night.